Welcome to Ginny Greaves' Private Eye. What are the most common motives for murder? Welcome to Ginny Greaves. When people think about murder, they often imagine complicated plots or mysterious psychological darkness. But investigators who work homicide cases say something rather surprising. Most murders are not mysterious at all. Behind the majority of killings lies a small group of motives that appear again and again across countries, cultures, and decades. While every case has its own story, criminologists generally find that most murders fall into a handful of familiar categories. Understanding these motives reveals something unsettling about human behavior, because the reasons people kill are often far simpler than we might expect. Rage and sudden violence. One of the most common motives for murder is also the most impulsive. Rage. Many homicides occur during arguments, fights, or emotionally charged confrontations. Alcohol, drugs, jealousy, or long-standing disputes can escalate rapidly until violence suddenly becomes lethal. These crimes are often described as crimes of passion, although that phrase can sometimes obscure the reality of uncontrolled anger. In many cases, the killer had no long-term plan to commit murder. The violence emerges from a moment where emotion overwhelms judgment. Domestic disputes, bar fights, and personal conflicts account for a large proportion of these killings. Money and financial gain. Another powerful motive is financial reward. Money has driven murder throughout history, from inheritance disputes to insurance fraud and organized crime. In these cases, the killing is usually more deliberate, sometimes carefully planned in advance. Financial motives appear in a wide range of crimes, including contract killings, family murders linked to inheritance, and schemes designed to collect insurance payouts. One famous British example involved Mary Ann Cotton, who poisoned several husbands and relatives in the 19th century in order to claim insurance payments and financial benefits. The case demonstrated how financial incentives can transform personal relationships into deadly calculations. Power and control. Some murders are motivated by a desire for dominance rather than money. In these cases, the killing is tied to control over another person. This motive frequently appears in domestic violence cases, where a partner attempts to maintain authority within a relationship. When that control is threatened, for example by separation or independence, the offender may resort to violence. Researchers studying intimate partner homicide often find patterns of coercion, stalking, or possessive behavior before the crime occurs. These warning signs are sometimes visible long before the fatal event. Revenge and grievance. Another common motive is revenge. In grievance-driven murders, the offender believes they have been wronged in some way. The perceived injustice may involve betrayal, humiliation, financial loss, or long-standing resentment. Over time, anger can become obsessive. The offender may repeatedly replay the perceived wrong in their mind, eventually convincing themselves that violence is justified. In extreme cases, this type of thinking leads to targeted attacks against individuals or groups. Criminologists refer to this as grievance-fuelled violence. Concealing another crime. Sometimes murder is not the original intention at all. Instead, it occurs as a way to hide another offense. A burglar who encounters a witness, a fraudster attempting to silence someone who knows too much, or a criminal trying to avoid arrest may resort to killing in order to eliminate evidence or testimony. In these cases, the murder is instrumental, a means of preventing discovery rather than an emotional act. The rare motive, serial killing. Although they dominate public fascination, serial killers represent a very small percentage of murders. These offenders often kill for complex psychological reasons, including fantasies of control, power, or domination. One of the most notorious examples in the United States was Ted Bundy, whose crimes combined manipulation, violence, and a disturbing pattern of psychological gratification. Despite the attention serial killers receive in media and popular culture, they account for only a tiny fraction of homicide cases. Most murders are far less elaborate. The uncomfortable reality. When investigators analyze homicide statistics around the world, a clear pattern emerges. Most murders are not mysterious crimes committed by unknown predators. They are acts of violence carried out by people who know their victims, partners, relatives, friends, or acquaintances. In many cases, the motives are painfully ordinary: anger, jealousy, money, or revenge. This reality challenges the idea that murder is always the work of monsters hiding in the shadows. More often, it is the tragic result of human emotions pushed beyond control. And understanding those motives is one of the most important tools investigators have when trying to uncover the truth behind a killing. Bye for now, Ginny Greaves.